Hello, good morning, everyone. Dhananjay here. So, good morning, everyone. I hope, Mahendra, should we start now?
Yes, there are three members are pending, but we can start now.
Okay, so we would start with if you have some questions from previous classes, I would happy to take that. In meantime, other member would also join. So if anyone have any questions, any doubt, please, this is your time.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was trying to create a view child like a object, and
Mhm.
it was not allowing me to create unless and until I put an exclamation mark beside after that, like null or undefined or keep it undefined.
Mhm.
So, so yesterday you created you were allowed that like you didn't need to put that, but I need to put every time I create.
If you go and rewatch the video, and if you and I guess in the very beginning I very explicitly said that in TypeScript tsconfig.json file I have added a flag called strict property initialization :false. You recall that?
Yes, yes.
So in your project when you started, by default that is true,
Okay.
and that is newer version of TypeScript. Keep it
Okay.
false. Otherwise,
Okay.
it will unnecessarily ask you to give a initial value to every variable you declare.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so if I show you how you can do that, let me share my screen. So in can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So in the screen, if you see line number 70 in tsconfig.json file, either you
Yes.
have this true, or if you don't have this, just add it, or
Okay.
you can just give some undefined and null also, but I don't prefer that. I prefer this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next question. No more questions? Okay, all of you were able to do the exercise which I gave you?
Yes.
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 Anyone
Yes.
had difficulty doing that? Everyone is good about that exercise?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Uh, so I see there is no question from yesterday, and all you are able to do the exercise which I gave you. And I hope now you understand component communication in and out. You understand what is input decorated property, what is the output decorated property, what is purpose of input decorated properties and output, when you should use it, in what business scenario you should be using it. You understand what is a smart component, what is dumb component. You understand when you should create a smart component, when you should create a dumb component. You understand life cycle hooks, ng on changes, ng on init constructor. You understand what is purpose of view child, how you can access something, any element or any child component in the components class using view child. You understand that if in view child static is not true, you can only access that inside ng on view, ng after view init lifecycle hook. But if you want to access something from template into the class using view child, in the ng on init you need to make static to true. Then also all of you understand what are the different data bindings, property, event, and interpolation. You do understand structured directives, using them like star ng for star ng if, how you can use them to display something in the loop. Also you understand pipes, that there are many pipes given to you like currency pipe, date pipe, and all those things. Then you created a custom search pipe as well. You know that pipe just transform the output without changing the underlying structure of the data, underlying data. That you understand. Then you also understand what is custom attribute directive, when you should create it, like credit card and all those things. You understand what is host binding, you understand what is host listener, you understand what is host. Also you know how to pass data in custom attribute directive using input decorated property. You understand what is the purpose of export as. And also you understand when to use these all technical concepts of Angular in real projects, in real business use cases. um, we talked about that you should you should never call API directly from a component. And also we saw that how component hierarchy works and all those things. So I hope and I assume that all of you are very much comfortable with everything which we talked since last 3 days. And if required in the project, you can deliver that, you can write code with minimal supervision. So is my assumption correct? Should I be confident about that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, only 3% out of 25.
Yes.
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 Yeah, good. And once again, if you think that you are lagging some concepts, you are not able to understand, you did not understand, please go and rewatch those videos. You would find answers. And even after rewatching video and practicing, you have any problem. Yesterday, I even shared my phone number with you. You can ask me anytime. In the beginning, for 15 minutes to 20 minutes, we daily give it uh, to the discussion of previous classes. This is your time to ask questions. So do ask questions. This is not a rocket science, very simple technology. All right. All right then. So should we move to the next topic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So today we are going to learn about services in Angular. Okay. And everything around services. And this is, so the Angular services and dependency injection are for 2 days in our agenda. It's almost 8 hours, means one day. And I hope that you'd able to understand everything. Okay, now you know. So far you have created Angular component. So far you have created Angular modules. You have created Angular directives. You have created Angular pipes, but you have not created Angular service. Now, what is Angular service? Let's just start from there. So Angular service is a class, and it is a kind of reusable class. Means whatever code, if you have some functionality which you want to share across multiple components or multiple directives, or you put that code in Angular service. So for example, let's say that login functionality. You know that you got to log in, you got to reuse the login functionality multiple times in your application. So instead of putting that in one component, because if you put that login functionality in one component, you can only access that inside that component or the child components and all those, and you know the complexities and everything around parent child component and all, and you have to take care of that. But so any code which you want to share across multiple places in your application, you put that in Angular service. So what kind of code you can put in Angular service? You can put, let's say that what you think you can put. So you can, let's say that you can put the login functionality. You can put API callings. You can put, for example, if you have some logs, application logs, anything. Let's say that you have to share data among multiple components which are not related to each other. To put all those codes in the services. So Angular service is nothing but a class. So everyone understand in which scenario you should create Angular service? On these scenarios: login, API callings, logs, share data among multiple components which are not related to each other, any common functionality of your application, any common functionalities of your application, you should put in service. Keep in mind that service has nothing to do with the DOM. So if you recall directives were all about DOMs. Means if you are creating a structured directive, it changes a structure of your DOM. If you create a attribute directive, it changes attribute of HTML element on the DOM. If you create component, then it creates a new element on the DOM. However, so directives are, keep this in mind, that directives are all about DOM. Okay, pipes are all about transform output on the DOM, right? But services has nothing to do with. You are able to see what I'm typing, right, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Services
Yes.
has nothing to do with DOM. Okay, services are pure class without any template or HTML. Okay, so services are just pure classes, and I did a mistake. I should put it in a notepad so that I can share with you later. Okay, so now you should able to see my notepad. Login and okay. So directives are all about DOM. You understand that. Pipes are all about transform output on the DOM without changing input data. And services has nothing to do with DOM, pure class without any template or HTML. So this is pretty clear. Now, and what are the code you should put in a service? Like login functionalities, API callings, logs, share data among multiple components which are not related to each other. Any common functionalities of your application you should put in the service. All right. Now, since service is a class, so to use it, you need to create an object of it. Everyone agree with this line? Since service is a class, so to use it, we need to create an object of it. Agree everyone on this line?
Yes.
Yes.
Because in any programming language, if you want to use a class is just a template. Class is just a definition of functionalities. To use a class, you need to create an object of it. Now, if I may ask to everyone in the class, if we create a class for which only one object can be created, what type of class is that?
Singleton.
Singleton. Very good. So if we create a class for which only one object can be created, that is called singleton class. Okay, so this singleton, everyone is clear. So when I will use the term singleton, I hope everyone in the class knows. Everyone in the class know what I mean by that. Singleton means a class which only one object can be created. Okay, so singleton is clear to you. So let's say that if I have a class A and I want to use it. So what you do, let's say that I have a class A. To use it in component, what will you do? You'll do something like this class, you will do something like this, maybe let A equal to new A, right? This is the way you create a class, create an object, sorry. Is this
Yes.
clear everyone, right? Let A equal to
Yes.
new A. This is the way you create an object. Now in a component, if you need to use this class A inside a component, where you should put this code? Everyone, please think and answer me that in a component, if I want to use a class A, where should I write this code? Let's say that I need object A to create component, and that component name is foo. So let's say that I need object A to create component foo, then where should I put this code? In which lifecycle hook or where?
Constructor.
On init.
Constructor on init. Okay, okay. So I guess constructor is correct because what our requirement is that we need object A to create component foo. So to create component foo, Angular will call constructor of the component foo. And when it is constructing that component foo, it needs object A. So we need to put that code to create object A inside constructor of component foo. Is it clear? All right. So this is how service is. Now let's go ahead and create a very small service, and then we would come back and do the all talking about it. Okay. So you can create a service using command nggs and your service name. Okay. So now everyone knows what is the purpose of service. When you should create a service. Everyone in the class, that when you have some common functionalities, you should create a service and put it in it. For example, calling an API, login functionalities, API callings, logs, shared data. This could be any functionality which is common among components, among multiple components, among directives. You should put that inside service. So for example, let's say that I'm creating if I go to that product component example yesterday, the API calling where I would make an API call to bring product data, I'll put that code inside a product service. All right, everyone. So let's see that how you can create a service. So to create a service, if I can show you my command prompt. So here's the project. Now to create a service, you will just say nggs, whatever service name you want to create. So I'm saying app. nggs app, and this will create a service for me. I press enter. You are able to see my command prompt, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So on the command prompt, what you see now? Can someone read it for me?
Two files are created, app.service.ts and app.service.spec.ts.
What is the purpose of spec.ts?
For unit testing.
To write unit test, right? So far you might have understood that the standard, the pattern what Angular follows, that if you have something called dhananjay.service.ts in Angular, unit test of that should go in dhananjay.service.spec.ts. If you have something called mahendra.component.ts, unit test of that should go inside mahendra.component.spec.ts. So that is clear to all of you, right? So here you have that created. It has created that for you. Now let us see the code that what it has created for us. So here, let me share Visual Studio Code with you. You want to see Visual Studio Code?
Yes.
Okay. So in Visual Studio Code, let me come here. And if I go to SRC, if I go to app, here you see that it has created app.service.ts. This is your first service. Now look at this. What is this? Line number 6. It is a class. Export class app service. This is what we follow in Angular everywhere. Export class apps, like everything is a class. Only the class becomes component or pipe or directives or service depending on the decorator you are using it here. So here for component you have something called @rate component. For pipe you have @rate pipe. For directives you have @rate directives. For service you don't have @rate service. You have something called @rate injectable. So if you decorate a class with @rate injectable decorator, that class becomes service. So in Angular you do not have @rate service. You have @rate injectable. Okay, so this is your class. This is constructor @rate injectable. Now there is something in it called providing : root. Providing : root. Okay, and that is very important information you need to understand. And I want everyone to understand what is purpose of providing : root. Okay, you can pass different values for this providing. By default, when you scaffold an Angular service, Angular creates with value providing : root. But here you can pass any, you can pass modules. These are the various options you can pass here. Okay, so but here if you see the options available here, any platform and sorry, there's no modules, any platform and root. Okay, and we have discussed these during training today. By default it is root, and I want each one of you to understand when to use when out of those three options. So this every line of code in this file is clear to everyone. Injectable is to convert it to the service. Providing is root. What is the purpose of providing? I would come into detail in a bit. And this is nothing but a class. Now you can go ahead and write whatever you wish to write. So let's say that I'm saying get data. And here we can pass a number. So let's say that we pass here data. That is a number. And whatever is passed here, we'll say let count equal to data plus 10. And then here we'll say return count. So here we have created a service, and then we are saying get data, data number, return count, data plus 10. Pretty simple, nothing else, nothing fancy here. So to create a service, what are the steps you need to follow? So to create a service, the step 1 is you run this command nggs service name. Step 2, able to see my notepad, right, everyone?
Yes.
Step 2, you go and write functions inside the service. Whatever function you want to write, you write inside the service. So these two steps we have done. So this is called this step is called create a service. This step is called implement the service. Okay. Now step 3, you remember that there was something called providing : root. You remember in the class we had that? I just discussed that. Providing : root.
Yes.
Everyone. Providing : root. You remember that
Yes.
code?
Yes. Yes.
This is one of the most complex topic of Angular we are going to learn today, or whatever left from today, tomorrow. So you have to be very attentive. Otherwise, in just after next 15 minutes, you'll go on mute and you'll sleep. And then just to feel good, or just to feel included, you will ask some questions in the after that topic, and that question is like kind of would not actually add anything in your learning. So I want you to be very attentive. This is one of the most complex topic. There would be not a single output in this. It's all concepts and concepts and concepts. I would at max create just one button on the screen. So you cannot learn by seeing. Here you have to learn by listening, and you have to be very attentive. If you understand these 2 days of training, that is what will make you a different Angular developer. Even if you, at this point of time, you go and talk, even Angular developers who are having like 4 years, 5 years of experience, they would not able to tell you the difference between providing colon, what is the difference of providing colon root, providing colon any, and providing colon platform. But we are getting deeper into this. So I request your complete attention here. And in first half an hour, I'm even asking in each 2 minutes, are you understanding? Are you understanding? Are you understanding? Now on, I'll just go on and go on. It is your responsibility to understand and ask questions. So please be attentive. Okay. So here, the step 1 is create a service, ng age g service name. Step 2 is implement the service. Whatever you want to implement in that, your functions, you implemented that. Now, if you look at the code, if I can share my screen, this line, providing colon root, right? This line, actually, we call this line providing colon root. That is known as providing the service. That syntax, that providing colon root is providing the service. Okay, that line actually is responsible to provide the service. So first you create a service, then using that provide in colon root or whatever value you want to give there, you are actually provide the service. So far we have done these 3 steps, everyone. All right. So we have done these 3 steps. Now, next what we need to do is we need to use that service. So here what I'm going to do, if you see my screen, I'm going to create few components. So let's say that I'm calling those components as NGGC child1. You can give any name. So I created a component called child1. Then NGGC, I created another component called child2. Okay, so I added these 2 components, and now let's say that we want to use that. So okay. Now you are able to see the Visual Studio Code. Now to use that component service, so here we have created that component service. So this is like NGGS creation, NGGS, then this providing is providing the service, and this get data is implementing. Now I would go here to, let's say that I want to use that in child1 component. So what I need to do in child1 component, open child1 component from here, and here we would say on child1 component, this is the syntax you need to follow. You'll say private, let's say app service, and that service name, app service. So this is what you need to do. This is the syntax you need to follow: private app service, app service. And this step, when you do this private app service and app service, this is the exact syntax name, where private is the modifier, this is your variable name, and then this is your service name. This step, what you just done, private app service, this step is known as, so in step 4, what you do something like that: private app service, that is your step 2. Okay, so that step is known as inject the service. Okay, so that step is known as inject the service. And then step 5 is, you will do get data. You will call that. That step is called use the service. So these are the 5 steps involved while working with service. You create a service, you implement the service, implement functionalities in the service, then you provide the service, then you inject the service, and then you use the service. So we have done create a service, we have implemented the service, we have provided the service now, and we have injected the service. Now to use the service, what we will do, okay, so here we have injected the service. Now to use the service, let's say that in child1.component.html, I have one, let's call it as child1 component. And here I have input type equal to number. Okay, and then I have a button here, let's say get data, and this is here in G model. So let's say that is data, and here we are saying H3 updated data equal to whatever we have put here. So let's say we call it U data. So we need to create these 2 variables. So here go to controls child1 component and then create that variable data number and U data also number. All right. So once those things are done, we need a click here on the button. So here we'll say click, C-L-I-C-K, click equal to let's say get data. So here take that get data from the click, and then here you can say get data, and we can say here this dot U data is equal to this dot app service dot get data, and that you got to pass some number. So let's say you are passing data. So you are passing this dot data. All right. And last but not least, what we need to do, we go to app module.ts and just import forms module. And let me run this. So what I have done so far here, I created a service, then I implemented the service, then I'm providing the service using providing : root. Then to use the service, first you have to inject, which we are doing in line number 13. Then I'm using this service right here in line number 20. And to use this service, I have created in child1 component 1 input type, 1 button. On click of the button, we are reading this input value and then getting the updated data. So updated data from service. Okay, so that's what we are doing. And okay, so creation, implementation, providing, injecting, and using the service. Let it run, and then we would again come back and understand those concepts. So any question on the code which we have just written?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
While we creating the component, it should be registered in app.module.ts. So is it not case in service?
Very, very good question. Please hold this question for next 30 minutes. Okay, it will get answered automatically. Very good question.
And,
okay.
Second concern is that why should we use the modifier private and not public or protected kind?
Very good. That is so very first, that is a syntax given to us by Angular. Now, why we are using that syntax, I have not talked, I have not explained that I'm going to do that, but that is a syntax. If you do public, it would not work. Okay. So that is a syntax by Angular, but what that syntax is doing, I'm going to explain in a bit. So that is question number 2, and that is also a good question. It would get answered. If it does not, by end of today, these 2 questions, you can ask these questions again. Okay.
Sure.
Very good. Very good observation. Yeah. So everyone, any other question? Wow. So let me see my screen. Oh, one thing we need to do, right? Here we need to say Control A and get rid of this, and we'll say app child 1, right? So file, save. And if I am back here, if I show you browser. Okay, so in the browser we have, if we put here data 12 and say get data, we are getting 22. You see that we are able to get data from the service. If we say data 55, get data, we are getting 65. So it is working fine. We can go ahead and reuse the same code for other component as well. So here we'll share the code. Let's go to the child data 2, and you got to follow exactly the same thing. So can someone tell me what is the first step I should do to use that? Private app service, right? This is the first step. And let's say here on ng on init, what I'm doing now here, I'm not creating a button here. I'm just trying to call that. So here we'll say let a equal to this dot app service dot get data, and let's say that here you are passing 45. Okay, so file, save, and now let's go and run this. So when you are running this, pressing F12, we have not used that. Yeah, very good. So for that, I'm going to use that in app component.html. And I'll say app child 2, app child 2, file, save. All right, and then what I've done, app child 2, what is the name of that? And then we have to do console.log a. So file, save, and then here, can you see my browser window now? So here you see that you are getting 55, and then whatever you pass here, you'll get there also. If you pass here something else, you'll get something else there. So you saw that how the same functionality get data, which is incrementing the input data by 10, is being used in multiple places. So that is clear to you? It was a very, very simple and very trivial example of a service, but I wanted to show you that if you have to create, how would you create that? So that is clear, everyone?
Yes.
Now what I want you to do, my friend, so take a note of something, like rightly one of you asked, take a note of this here, constructor private service, app service, right? So by looking at this code here, you see constructor private app service, you might be thinking that this app service, which is in front of you, which is highlighted right now in Visual Studio Code, this app service is the name of the service which we created. Agree, right? This is the name of the service, this app service which we created.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good. Now let's go ahead and summarize what we just covered, and then I'll go further. So to use a service, everyone be with me and say yes or no. Create a service is the first step. NGGA service name. Everyone now know how to do that.
Yes.
Everyone knows how to do that. Then implement the service. That is your business logic. You'll create your functions and everything inside that. So that is clear, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Then you have to provide the service. By default, already providing : root is there when you do NGGA service name. and that is already done. Then you have to inject the service, which you are doing in the constructor, private app service, and then you use the service. So there are 5 steps: create, implement, provide, inject, and use. Create, implement, provide, app, and use. This is something very important you need to mind. Create, implement, provide, inject, and use. This is how this is the life cycle of your service. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so here in Visual Studio Code, what I have done, I created a service right here, app service.ts. This is the service I created, right? By default, that service was created, and then we added this get data. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. Okay, so you saw that providing :root, I deleted that, and then again I'm saving it, and then let's go back to the output here. And if you look at the output in the browser, what it says, what error you get?
No provider for app service.
Then again, no provider for app service. You are getting that error. You know why you are getting that error? Because in this flow, in this sequence, you don't have this now. So you created it, you implemented it, you injected it, and you are trying to use it. But this does not know how to provide. That provider is not there. And that's why you are getting that error. So this sequence is very important. All right. Now, what is meaning of providing? What is purpose of provider? What is meaning of inject? What is purpose of inject? I'm coming to that in a bit, but I hope all of you now you understand this flow: create, implement, provide, inject, and use. Everyone clear with this? If any one of them is missing, your service is kind of not reusable. Of course, you cannot provide a service which is not created. You cannot implement a service which is not created. You cannot, even if service is created, implemented, injected, but if you are not providing, Angular would complain about that. Again, even a service is created, implemented, and provided. If you are not injecting it, you would not able to use it. And even if you have created, implemented, provided, and injected, if you are not using it, what is the point of doing all these 4 steps? So create, implement, provide, inject, and use is something which you need to keep in mind. Now, next 2 hours to 3 hours, we would only focus on these 2 gentlemen: provide and inject, because other things are straightforward. To create, just you have to run one command. Implement is your business logic, whatever you want to implement inside that, and use is just use. But these 2 are the Angular things. So these create, implement, and use is in your control as a developer, and provide and inject is something which Angular takes care of that. So as an Angular engineer, we really need to understand what is happening under the hood, such that if tomorrow we are stuck in a bug, or tomorrow if we need to do something bigger, we know exactly what does it mean and how to proceed for that. So everyone clear with this? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you remember, everyone, you see this, what I have highlighted, if we create a class for which, so we are saying that since service is a class, so to use it, you need to create an object of it, right? In the beginning, I wrote this line: since service is a class, so to use it, you need to create an object of it. Means I should do let app service is equal to new app service. I should, if you follow this line, since service is a class, so to use it, you need to create an object of it. If I follow this line, my friend, then in my application, somewhere I need to do this: let app service equal to new app service. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
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 But you just saw the whole flow: create, implement, provide, inject, and use. Are we doing anywhere that line? Let
Nope.
apps, we are not doing it, but we were able to use the service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
Yes.
were getting the storyline?
Yes.
Yes.
It means that task is done by someone else for us.
Yes.
Yes.
Because from our engineering MCA background, we know that to use a service, we have to use a class. We need to create object of that class. Here we are using a class. We got the output. Everything is super fine, but we have not done that line. We are not creating that object. It means someone has to create that object for us. Someone must be creating that object for us, right? Right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So in software engineering, it's not specific to Angular. In software engineering, to use a class, let us say, let me take a name here. Let us say, Parth needs an object of Asutosh. Parth Asutosh is a service, and Parth needs an Asutosh is a class, and Parth needs object of Asutosh. Now, what Parth is doing, he is not creating object of Asutosh directly. He is asking Nidhi to create. I mean, whenever Parth needs object of Asutosh, he goes and knock Nidhi door that, hey, can you give me object of Asutosh? And Parth does not care about how Nidhi is creating that object. How Nidhi is, whether she is creating a new object of Asutosh, or she is reusing existing object of Asutosh and providing it to Parth, and all those things. Those are responsibility of Nidhi, and she has hidden that complexity from Parth. The only thing what Parth does, that he's focused on his work, but whenever he needs object of Asutosh, he goes and asks Nidhi that give it to me. So you understand this example, this connotation. So when you write your application in this way, this is called inversion of control design architecture pattern. Okay, so there is an inversion of control, and sometimes we call it dependency injection as well. I'm going to cover that. The pattern is a software engineering architecture pattern, and you can apply that in any technology, any framework. You can apply that in .NET, you can apply that in Java, you can apply that in Angular, anywhere you can apply that. That is a generic concept. So for next 15 minutes, first let's understand that concept, the theoretical concept, and then we would come back to Angular again. So I request each one of you to give your full attention here. So here, can you see my notebook? OneNote, can you see that, everyone? OneNote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And what you see now?
OneNote.
Okay. So here, let us say you have a car class. So you have a car class. All right. Then you have one more class. And that class is bus class. Okay, so this is car class, this is bus class. So you have these two classes. And then you have one more class called there's one more class in your application, and that class is called engine class. All right, so this is the scenario. I have a car class, I have a bus class, I have an engine class. Now you know that to work to 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 a car needs an engine, right? And a bus needs an engine. To function, a car needs an engine, and to function, a bus needs an engine. And for that, you have an engine class here. Or instead of engine, let's say that, okay, let's have it engine, no problem. Now, what is the normal scenario? In normal scenario, what you do in the car class, you'll say E equal to new engine, and for bus also you'll say, let's say EB means engine bus equal to new engine, and here we are saying EC. So this is the way you do usually. EC equal to new engine, and then EV equal to new engine. This is the way you do that. Agree? And it means that what you do, that by doing this, you are going to the engine class, and it is also going to the engine class and creating object of this. So this is the way normally you code, right? You create the object. Now where you create that object, when car is getting constructed, at that time only you need engine. So you will put this code EC equal to new, EC equal to new engine inside the constructor of the car. In the same way, when the bus is getting constructed, you may need that you will create that object in the constructor of the bus. So this diagram should be clear to you. Now this is good. You can do like this, and we do like this usually. But there are two challenges in this approach. The challenge number one is, the challenge number one in this approach is, and I'm writing in the top for you, that EC and EB is not reusable. What does it mean? That if tomorrow I have one more class, let's say that tomorrow if I have one more car class here, I created one more car class right here, I cannot reuse this EC inside this car, right? Because that EC is part of that car. That EC is created inside the constructor of that car class. So the one challenge is that EC and EB is not reusable. But it may happen that this car one is not into the action. We want to just take that object of car one and use it with car two. But if we follow this, that is not possible. That EC and EB is not reusable. That is problem number one, and that is still a smaller problem. You would say, hey, it's okay. I don't want to create this object in another car. It's fine. I'm happy to one-to-one relationship between car and car object and engine object. You may argue that, and that is fine. So that is a problem. You may say that, okay, this is a problem I care about or I don't care about. That is fine. Okay. But the second major problem, my friend, is, this is problem number one. And the problem number two is that let us assume that when we are creating this car object, you are creating object of engine inside the constructor of car. When you are creating this bus, constructing this object of bus, you are creating object of engine inside constructor of bus. Now, for any reason, let us say for any reason, if this line fails, EC equal to new engine fails, that may fail because that is going and creating object of some another class. For any reason, if this line EC equal to new engine fail, the whole object creation of car will fail. You agree with that, my friend? Because there is an error in the constructor of car. So if there's an error in the constructor of car,
Anyone can hear?
Yeah, who is here? Ravi?
he can't
No.
hear.
No.
Hello, am I here? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
When did I lost you?
10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds back.
Okay, okay. So you are not able to see my screen?
No.
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 Okay, so only 10 seconds, right? So what last I was explaining, if someone tells me, someone tell me.
If
If this line ECC goes to new engine fails.
Oh,
engine-
okay, okay. So just few seconds. Okay. So what I was saying, and Mahendra, if due to any technicality, my voice, etc., is not audible, feel free to call me on my phone also. Because sometimes while teaching,
Yep.
you just go into the flow and don't realize that you are disconnected. Okay. So okay, let's get back to it. Sorry for that 10 second of this disruption. So here we are writing that code EC equal to new engine inside the constructor of car. So for any region, if that line of code EC equal to new engine fails, what would happen? For any region, if EC equal to new engine fails, the whole construction of object of car would fail. So here we can say the problem failing of creation of dependent object will cause failing of creation of host object. Let's call it host object, right? So that is second major problem. Because it may happen when you are creating an object of, let us say, bank, or so let's say that you are creating with a banking application. The bank class may have dependency on user information, account information, payroll information, and there could be 100 of dependencies. You don't want that, hey, if one of the dependency fails, let's say that there is an email service inside a bank object that user wants to get notification from email service. So let's say that if that email notification object is failed, you don't want that the whole banking object to fail, right? So you don't want that if you have a dependency on something and some person is not able to bring that for you, that dependency is failing. You don't want to fail the whole object. I'll give you a real-time example. Let us say in morning you have a dependency on a milk seller to provide milk to you, such that you make tea and you drink tea and then you wake up. So that's what your dependency early morning. But let us assume that one day that milk seller does not come. It does not mean that you would not go on and wake up. Okay, you may not have tea on that day, or you may have black tea on that day, but you will wake up and start your day, right? It's not that, okay, now since there's no milkman today, I'm not going to wake up. You don't do that, right? So in the same way, let's say that if you are creating a bank object needs an email object, needs an account object, it needs a user object. Let's say that email object for some reason is not able to get created or is failing. It does not mean the whole bank object should not get created. So same here in car, maybe that, okay, at least create the object without engine, and then we would see later that why engine is failing. So this is the problem when you directly create object of dependency inside the host object. Can you see the problem here on the screen? Right? So we solve this problem. Let us say that I go and create one more page. I am keeping it here as it is. I'm going and creating one more page. And I'm putting it here. And I will get rid of this to save some time. And I'll get rid of, let's say, this also, and I'll get rid of this also. Okay, so now let's say that there is someone else in your application. There's someone else in the application, okay, and this engine is related to that person. They know each other very well, okay, and this code which we just wrote here is actually happening here. Okay, and it does not have this also. Now, whenever car needs this EC equal to new engine, what car will do? It will go and ask this to this guy. Also, whenever bus needs, it will also go and ask to this guy. And you see, there is no direct relation between car and bus. So this guy who is the responsible, the whole responsibility of this circle is to create object and provide it to car and bus whenever they need it. So when you follow this architecture, that is called inversion of control or dependency injection. So what happens that here, this person who inject the dependencies. So whenever car has a dependency on engine, so car has a dependency on engine, it has a dependency on engine. So it will go here. Okay, there is a dependency, but it will ask this this particular person to inject that dependency in the car. Okay, so the request should be like this, that hey, inject this to me. And when you create like this is called DI, this pattern is called dependency injection. And this guy who is injecting this is called DI container. The person who inject the dependency in the classes is called DI container. Okay, now the car does not know about that how this DI container is creating the object. It does not care about that. It will just go there and say that, hey, give me this object. And DI container will provide that object to them. Now, whether DI container is creating new object each time and it is providing new object like separate objects to car 1 and car 2, or it is using new existing object for car 1 and car 2, that could be set in a configuration depending on how car and car 2 talk to DI container. Same it goes for the bus. But in this case, what happens, the advantage is that this EC could be reused. It could be reused in car 1 and car 2. The second advantage is that even if this DI container fails to inject the dependency in car 1 can still get constructed. Only there wouldn't be an engine there, but you can fix that later. But still the object creation of car 1 is happening. So this is overall called dependency injection pattern. In dependency injection pattern, what you do that you don't create object of dependencies yourself. You ask a DI container, a DI framework to create that object for you and give it to you. So this is a very overall definition of DI container. If you look at, there are other advantages of DI container also, which I'm not, other use cases, which I'm not going into detail, but I wanted to bring to your attention what is DI container especially for team 1, the young students. You should understand what is dependency injection, what is DI container, what is dependency. When we talk this talk. So if I again go back to the example of Parth and I guess I forget the name, Parth and let's take another example. Again, Parth, let's say that Gunjan, Dhey and Dharya. So if let's say that here Dharya is a DI container, Gunjan needs an object of Devendra. What Gunjan would do? Gunjan would request Dharya that, hey, I have a dependency on Devendra. Can you inject that to me? And then Dharya would take care of that. So here the circle, what you see is Dharya. Devendra is that engine object, and car 1 and bus is Parth. So in this way, the dependency injection works, where you don't create that object directly. So is it clear, everyone, what is dependency injection? An inversion of, theoretically, is it clear to you?
Yes.
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 For everyone?
Yes.
Yes. I
Yes.
have one question. So,
Yeah.
can this dependency injection fail for any reason?
Of course, anything in this world can fail, right?
Yeah. So in that case also we will have the same problem, right?
No, but it is still the object of car would get created, right? Without an engine.
Okay, but the dependency injection happens in the constructor. So if that fails, then
No,
the
that is very good question. That is we are not getting into that deep of dependency injection, but your DI framework will take care of that. That even so, there are various ways dependency injection works. You can inject it in constructor, you can inject it in property and all that, but but it would not affect your object creation. That whatever DI framework you are using, they should take care of that.
okay.
Okay. So dependency injection is very what to say, is very important, and as you see that it is a very good, very important design pattern. So here what I'm going to do something for you. Let me walk you through it some slide. Can you able to see my slide? No?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. No, okay, just a minute. How about now?
Yes.
You're able to see the slides, right? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever we saw in the diagram, let us just read that in the slides. So DI, dependency injection. Dependencies are services or object that a class needs to perform its function. Everyone clear with that line? Especially college, team one, students who are just coming out of college. Dependencies are services or objects that a class needs to perform its function. That is clear. So a car has a dependency of engine and car needs engine to perform. That is clear. Now DI is a coding pattern in which a class asks for dependencies from external sources rather than creating them itself. I'm going to read it again. DI is a coding pattern in which a class asks for dependencies from external sources rather than creating them itself. So here, if you go to that diagram, it was asking to that circle to give you the dependencies. Okay, so the person who came up with the idea of dependency injection, so there's a person called Martin Fowler. He's known as father of design pattern, and he very popularly said once, saying an application is special because it supports dependency injection is like saying a car is special because it supports wheel. It means dependency injection should be integral part of all the application. Earlier in the days, Mahendra and other senior people would agree that applications did not have dependency injection themselves. We used to integrate it, we used to implement it. So for example, .NET did not have dependency injection itself, or ASP.NET MVC did not have dependency injection itself. We used to install third-party libraries and other stuff to integrate, to implement dependency injection or inversion of control. But as of Martin Fowler, that saying an application is special because it supports dependency injection is like saying a car is special because it supports wheel. So dependency injection is that important. Okay. So keeping that in mind, and since Angular is latest framework, is just 4 years old, by design, Angular supports dependency injection and it has its own DI framework. Means dependency injection is first class citizen of Angular. You don't have to install or write your own custom implementation for to work with dependency injection in Angular. Angular has its right there. You don't have to do anything extra. By design, Angular framework supports dependency injection, and by design, it has its own DI framework. You understand that? So DI is integral part of Angular. You don't have to do anything for that. Just you need to follow certain syntaxes and Angular will take care of that. You don't have to install a third-party thing. You don't have to install third-party libraries, or you don't have to write your own custom implementation. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
So everyone, are you clear with every words on this slide? First, dependency injection. Everyone understand what is dependency injection?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone understands DI framework means that circle which we created in the diagram, and by design Angular supports dependency injection, and it has its own DI framework. It has its own DI framework means you don't have to install any third-party library or anything for that. Okay, in React you have to do that. So let's say that if you are working on React and you want to work with dependency injection design pattern, you got to install third-party libraries for that. Okay. In Angular, you don't have to do that. So can I move to next slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll come to this slide later. But before that, let me go back and show you the code. Okay, now you should able to see my Visual Studio Code, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in Visual Studio Code, to use that service, so again, I'm going to revise it for everyone. We created a service using ngGS service name. Everyone, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Then we provided a service using this syntax, providing :root. Everyone, yes? Step 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, that is my bad. That is step 3. Step 2 is we implemented a service get data. So step 1 we created, step 2 we implemented, step 3 we provided, right? Now we want to use this service in child 1 and child 2. It means child 1 and child 2 has dependency on app service. Can I read like that? That child 1 and child 2 has dependency on app service. Everyone agree with that? Can I say that?
Yes.
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 So someone, and if since Angular supports DI by design, then Angular should able to inject the dependency if I need it. Right?
Yes.
Angular should able to inject dependency for me. And that is what this line is doing. So that was our fourth step, right? Inject the service. So when you follow this syntax, actually you are requesting Angular DI container. You are requesting Angular that, hey, child 1 is requesting Angular that, hey, I have a dependency of app service. Can you give me an object of app service by following this syntax? Same we are doing in child 2 also. So this syntax is actually injecting that service. We are saying that the child 2 is saying to Angular that, hey, I have a dependency on app service. Can you provide me an object of app service? Making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is the reason we don't have that code, app service A equal to new app service anywhere in our application. In Angular, you will never do that. In Angular, whenever you need to create an object, you follow this syntax. Never create object yourself. You request Angular to create it for you and provide it to you. At least for Angular features. Am I making sense, everyone?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this is the syntax. So Angular will take care of that, creating that object and provide it to you. And then you are using that service here. So far, so good. So in this way, Angular has its own DI container. Now, you may have questions, and from here, a story is going to get very interesting. Now you may have a question. Everyone, be attentive. That, hey, in child 1, I am using app service. In child 2, I am using app service. All right. And I'm requesting, I'm not creating object myself. I'm requesting Angular to create object for me and provide it to me or inject it to me. All right, so far, so good. Now, whether Angular is create separate object for child 1 and separate object for child 2 of app service, whether Angular is create separate object of child 1 or separate object for child 1 and separate object for child 2 of app service, or it is going to reuse the same object for child 1 and child 2. What do you
We
think?
use the same object, I think.
Same. Same object.
Okay. And what if child 1 says that, hey, let us assume that you are correct, but child 1 says, hey, I don't want the same object, give me a new object.
We have to change provide in parameter.
Good attempt. But let's not get into the answer. First, understand the problem. You are getting that these kind of scenarios are possible, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So first, let's go to the default implementation. Default implementation of providing is colon is equal to root. This is what you got when you did ng8 service name. And most of the time when you ask definition of Angular service to anyone, and I'm sure people who are working on Angular already, they would agree with me that, hey, what is Angular service? Angular service is a singleton class. Angular service is a singleton class. Angular service is a singleton class. We answered that. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yes. And if it is a singleton class, it means there would be only one object of Angular service, which would be used everywhere. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yes, no, yes, no.
Yes.
Singleton, right?
Yes.
So let's see that first. Let's see that whether it is really a singleton service or not. So for that, so if you go and read the definition of Angular service, these are the two keywords always would come to you. The first keyword is Angular service is a singleton service. That is first keyword. And second keyword is Angular service is tree stackable. These two keywords, everyone be attentive. Angular service is a singleton, Angular service is a singleton class, and Angular service is tree stackable. These two keywords are always there with you. Angular service is a singleton class, Angular service is tree stackable, Angular service is a singleton class, Angular service is tree stackable. This you would always find. Now, first, let us focus on whether Angular service is tree stackable or not. What is tree stackable? First, let's talk this, then again we would come back to singleton class thing. Okay, now what is tree stackable? Anyone knows what is tree stackable? Anyone? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so no one knows tree stackable. Okay, here I'll take 5 minutes break. I'll be back in 5 minutes. You note it down, anything which you have to from whatever we have learned in last 90 minutes. And then we would focus on these two things for next almost 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. It's 10:23. I'll be back in 10:30. 10:30 we would start. Okay, I'm back. Everyone here? We'll wait for 1 more minute and then we'll start. My voice is audible, just cross-checking once again.
Yes.
Yes.
And you are able to see the notepad. You are able to see the notepad, right? Yes? Okay. Okay. The next topic is very interesting. All of you should know it and you'd like it. I'll wait for, because 10:30 time we gave. I hope so far it is clear whatever we have covered in last 90 minutes, right? Very step by step we are going. You understand what is service now. You understand what is dependency injection, how useful it is. You also understand to work with dependency injection, you don't need to do anything extra in Angular. Just you got to follow certain syntaxes, all right? And these are the two definitions of Angular. Angular service is a singleton class and Angular service is tree shakable. Let us demystify these two things, whether it is absolutely correct or it depends. So for next half an hour at most, we are going to focus on this, and each one of you should able to then really understand and use and answer that whether Angular service is really tree shakable or it is not tree shakable. Okay. Now, okay, let us go back a step back and remember the module structure. That we learned that there could be 100 of modules in our application, but there is one main module. So something which you have in main module would be available to all the modules. Agree?
Yes.
Right. Now here, let me go and share my screen again, share Visual Studio Code again. And if you recall, when we go and get rid of this provide equal to root and save it and then run it again, and if we run it again, we were getting this error, right? No provider for app service. We saw that. There's another way we can solve this problem. One is that, of course, you go back and set the value of providing equal to root, and that problem would be solved. There's one other way we can solve this problem. And in the beginning, someone asked me this question that, hey, to use the component, you do some mention of that component in app module. To use pipe, you do some mentioning of that pipe in app module. To use directives, you do some mentioning of that in app module. Why not about service? So for that, let's go here. Here is the error. Let's go here in this, and again in the Visual Studio Code. Let me go to app.module.ts. So app.module.ts is the highest level module. Every module and everything which we would create would be inside app module. Now in module, you have declaration. So that is declared here. I mean, in declaration, you pass the components and the pipes name. So that is pretty clear to you. Then imports, if this module is dependent on some other module, you pass that information in the imports array. I guess that is also clear to you. After that, you have an option of providers. And I told you that we would talk this later. So here there's something called providers. Remember that in appservice.ts, we don't have providing root option anymore. It means we were getting that error, that no providers error. You remember that, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to app.module.ts. And here in the providers, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that, hey, app service. So what I have done here, I removed that providing root option, and I'm passing that app service, the app service in the providers array of my module. In this case, I have only one module, but I'm passing that there, providers app service. And then I'll save it here, and let's see that whether that error is gone or not. And if you see that screen, that error is gone and you are getting the output 55 and 344. So we can solve that providers not available error by either configuring providing option in the service or by passing the service in providers array. Everyone clear about that?
Yes.
Yes.
And this providers is in module, this providers is in component, everywhere it is available. And what is when to use what, I'm coming to that in a bit, but right now you understand that. Now you may have a question. The question you should have is, I see there's one person left. Usually we are 27, today we are only 26. So you may have a question that, hey, what is the difference if I use providing or I use providers array? Of course, there must be some difference, right? That's why they have given us two options. Now let us see that when to use what. What is the purpose of that? And this is very important. Please focus, okay? So here you can see my Visual Studio Code again. Now what I'm going to do in my Visual Studio Code, that I'm using this child component and everything, I'm going to just comment it for a while. So in child1.component.ts, I'm using this get data and all. I'm just commenting it for a while. Okay, so here's the constructor. Commenting it means I'm not using that anymore. I'm not using that service anymore. So here, constructor, all right, and then comment. Okay, so right now I have a service here, and I have created a service here, which is right here, the app service. Okay, the service is created. And the service is provided using the providers array app service. Okay, but I'm not using that service in the application anywhere. So we created a service, but we are not using anywhere. See, we have not injected it. We are not using it. We have not injected it. We are not using it. Means we have created a service in our application, but we are not using it. Okay, so keep in mind that in real scenario, it may happen that you may have 100 of services in your application, 1,000 of components in your application. Okay, and if you recall from day one that all those services and components or directives and pipes together, Webpack bundles them together, and then you create, and then you get a bundle. Agree, everyone? That bundle.js and that vendor.js that gets deployed. Agree? You remember, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so our one of the best practices is that we should try to keep that initial bundle size as smaller as possible, such that performance of application looks good. That also everyone agree?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so that is two things keep in mind. Now here is the service. Here we have a service, and that service is created. One of the engineers created this service, but this service is being not used in our application. Okay, that is other information keep in mind. So here I'm saying that, hey, console.log app service. What I have done, just a minute. Just give me a moment.
Inside a method or constructor.
I don't think so. Have they done something more here? A member console implicitly has type any console.log abc. This is something interested. I'm included in the bundle. Okay. That is the problem with changing versions of Angular. Okay, I'm putting it here. Let me see whether I'm able to get the output which I'm expecting you to show. Okay, so here we have created a service. We are providing this service in the app service, but we are not using that service anywhere. Okay, so file, save, and this is something I don't need it here. That's what I wanted to tell you. File, save. Just a minute, okay? Give me a moment, everyone. Which screen you are able to see?
VS Code.
Okay, okay. Give me 2 minutes, okay? Because that is very important thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so let me see which version of TypeScript I have. TypeScript 4.1.2. Copy the JSON, and then here I can say first assistant casting information strict. One minute, my friend, okay? Okay, let me try this as of now. Okay, so I'm saying console.log and log implicitly has generated, but a better type may be inferred from users. Function is missing or not in by the declaration. This is seriously anyway. Let it be. Let me just talk about that. So console.log implicitly has never mind. Anyway, everyone attention here, okay? So now they don't allow to console.log outside anywhere, and which is fine. Ideally, it should. Okay, and I'll just change it to never mind. Okay, so here what I'm doing, my bad. So you see that I have a service here, export class app service constructor get data, and everyone back.
Yeah.
Everyone with me?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Yes.
So what we are trying to see here, that we created a service. Okay, the service is right here, app service TS. And here in the service, I'm saying I'm included in the bundle, then injectable service and whatever is there. But I'm not using that service anywhere in the application. Now you know that our main purpose as a developer is to make bundle size as small as possible. Because let's say that if your bundle size is of 5 MB, and if your bundle size is of 2 MB, of course, the bundle size with initial 2 MB would load it faster, and your user would have faster user experience of your website. Agree with that? Here, we created that and then passing the providers here, but we are not using that service anywhere. Okay. But if you look at the output, but here, if you come and look at the output here, you see that we are not using that service anywhere. And again, loading this, can you see this? I'm included in the bundle, the message here. Now, what is the messaging here? Messaging here is that even if that service is not used anywhere in the application, that service is part of the bundle. Even if that service is not used anywhere in the application, that service is part of the bundle, part of your output bundle. It means, let's say that one of your engineer has created 5 services. That services is not used anywhere, and Still that is part of the bundle, means unnecessarily increasing the size of your bundle. All right. So you see that, that's why you are getting here, I'm in the bundle. Now, if you go back to Visual Studio Code, and in Visual Studio Code, if you look at here, what we did, we are providing that service using providers app service. However, I delete it from here. So I deleted it from providers, and then I go back to app service. And here I'm saying providing as root, which is by default. Now file and save, and then let's go back to our output again. And here in our output, you see that that message is gone, right? I'm provided in the, I'm included in the bundle. That message is gone. Can you notice that, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now if I go here in the notepad, that hey, what is the difference if I use providing or I use providers array? You know that if you use providing option with a service, if you use providing, and if that service is, if you have created a service and using providing to provide that service, and if that service is not used anywhere in the application, Angular is smart enough not to include that service in the bundle. However, if you created a service and providing that using the providers array, and even if you are not using that service is part of the output bundle. You saw that? Agree?
Yes.
Yes.
So the service which is created using provide in is tree shakeable. The service which is created using provide in is tree shakeable, and the service which is created using providers array is not tree shakeable. So tree shakeable is a concept which determines, which says that hey, if someone is part of your application but being not used, should not become of the final output bundle. If you have that feature, if let's say that I'm saying that Dhananjay is a tree shakeable Dhananjay, it means that if Dhananjay is not being used anywhere in the application, Dhananjay would not become part of the output bundle. So when we say a service is tree shakeable, means if that service is not used, the service will not become part of the output bundle. So when you create a service using provide in, the service is a tree shakeable service. If you create a service using providers array, that service is not a tree shakeable service. Now, what is tree shakeable? That if someone which is not used, if it does not become part of the output bundle, that is called tree shakeable. If someone is not used but still become part of the output bundle, that is not tree shakeable. Is this concept clear, everyone? These two lines.
Yes.
So I'm open to take questions
Yeah.
for tree shakeable and providing and providers. If you have any question, I'm happy to take that.
So let's say we are using providers in modules, right? Like app module.ts and module file, right? So that the scope of that providers would be the module itself, right? It cannot be used outside that module. But if we use that provided in colon root, then can we use that in a different module as well?
You are 80% right. But if I provide something in the app module, is it not equivalent to root?
Yeah, but let's say if we are not providing that in app module, but
Yes,
there are
then
some
you are right.
other-
Yes, yes. So providing equal to root is equivalent to if you provide it at the app module level. But if you provide something only in a module A, let us say, then it would be only available in module A.
Okay.
So here I am trying to show you that what if you provide something at the app module level and providing equal to root, both are same thing, right? Because app module is the main module of your application, means every module is the child module of that module. It means that would be available everywhere. So if you are providing something in module A and module B is the child module of that module A, then that service would be available in module B as well. So in our application, app module is main module and parent module of the whole application. So if you provide something in app module, that is exactly equivalent to providing root. Is it clear?
Yes.
But with one difference, the difference which we just talked, that if you provide something using providers array, that is not tree shakeable. If something which you not provide using providing, that is tree shakeable. Everyone, each one of you, 25 people, is it clear to you tree shakeable when you should use providers, when you should use providing?
Yes.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir, I have one doubt. If you provide other values for providing, will it affect the tree-shakeable property?
When you say other value means, can you
Like other than root, any or platform?
I'm coming to that. Hold that question. When we go to root, forget about, just we would focus on platform. Platform, you don't have to worry about that. That is out of scope. Let's talk about any also, but we would cover that once we reach there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Other than that, and if it is not covered, remind me again. Okay, so everyone, are you now comfortable with what is difference between providers array and providing option?
Yes.
Now you are comfortable with, I mean, now you know what is tree shakeable, what is not tree shakeable.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the technology part. Now I have a question for all of you, because by looking at this definition, you would think, then why anyone would ever use providers array, right? Because providers array is always going to include, even if it is not used, then it is always better to use provided, right? That must be coming to your mind right now. Agree?
Yes.
Yes. But there are some scenarios where you have to use providers array. Can you think of that business scenario, anyone?
If we want to localize that usage of service to any particular module, then we can use providers array.
Forget about particular module. Let's talk about only in context of app module and foreign equal to root, because that answer is very specific. But what if I create a service inside a module and then do providing equal to module name? Then also that can be, that is the same thing. So let's say that you want to use providing and you want to use that service only inside a particular module. Go and create that service inside that module. Okay. And in provide in, use the module name. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
So providers to use there is not like correct answer in one way, because you can restrict a service to be used inside a module by using providing also. For that, step one, create the service inside that module, and in providing, provide module name option. Okay. Let us think of some other business case where we need to use providers. Can someone think of that? And we have no choice for that. But that is a good answer. Like that is the easy answer. Yeah, you are right that for a module, we would just provide it at the module level. To use providing, we have to do some workaround. But but what is the other business case you can think of where you have no choice but to use providers array?
Some shared services like logging.
But I mean, how that would matter? Because if you are logging, so you are using that service somewhere, so it should be in providing.
Okay. When I say Logging means it's a kind of a logs, right? Not the sign in.
Yeah.
So
I know. I
yeah, so
understand the
let's say,
logging.
yeah. So let's say there are two component. The both component are producing some logs,
Mhm.
and that logs needs to go to some specific server, and then the scenario from there it will be displayed somewhere in the dashboard.
Mhm.
So kind of like if in an application we have the multiple components which produce a similar kind of logs, then that shared service can be created and included as a providers.
Why you would not want to include that as providing option? How difference it would be?
It can be included as a provide. I mean, in all the scenario, the providing option is there, whether it's a shared or it's a specific.
No, my question is, in what scenario providing will not work? Only providers will work. You understand my question? My question is that in what scenario you cannot rely on providing, you have to use providers.
I can try, but I don't know my answer. For example, we have 5 modules and we want our service to be used in any 3 of them. And we don't want code redundancy in every module. Like we don't want to declare our service in every 3 module and use providing and specify our module name. So in that case, we have to use providers, and we can pass the service in every module provider array.
Can you again say your answer? I missed something. Please repeat your answer again.
Okay, so I have 5 modules and
You
one
let us go step by step. You have 5 modules, okay,
and one service class.
and then you have
Uh,
app service. Then you have app service.
Okay.
Step 2, okay. Then let's
Okay.
go little bit slowly, okay. So you have 5
Okay.
modules. Let's say module A, module 2, module C, module E, and then you have app service. Okay. Next.
Yeah. Now I want to use that service in module B, C, and D, not in A and E or something. Means I
Okay.
want to restrict that usage in any 3 of them out of.
Okay.
One of the ways that in B, C, and D, we can write service inside that module and use provide in property. But I don't want to do that. I want to declare a service globally. And inside provider array of every module, I can specify that. So I will reduce the code redundancy in every modules.
Actually, you are increasing the code. You are not decreasing by doing that.
How so?
And that's what we are here to understand that. Okay, and just hold this thought. It will be answered automatically. It will be automatically answered in one hour. Okay, if it is not,
Okay,
we would
okay.
come back to this discussion again. But
Yeah, sure.
if I had to achieve that, how about, see, if a service, and thank you for bringing a very good discussion. Okay, the code redundancy part, code redundancy or those things would come in a bit, but understand that as an architect, as an engineer, if you know that, hey, I need to use this service only in these modules, create only inside that module. If you have created something on the application level, then don't do work around to restrict that. Am I making sense? Now, let us not wait for 1 hour. Let me give you a hint of your answer. Now, a hint of my answer. Now you are saying that, hey, I'm going to provide that app service in module B, module C, and module D. I'll not provide it in module A and module E. Right? That's what you are saying.
Yes, yes.
But you have that service at the application level. That is your scenario. Agree?
Yes, I have globally declared it.
Yeah. So anyway, if you have globally declared it, you have to provide it at a global level. Otherwise, Angular will give you error. You agree with that?
Okay, yes. Yes.
So you already have provided it once at the global level.
Yes.
And then again, you are going into 3 modules and re-providing it. Agree?
Okay. Yes.
Means you are creating 4 object of service. That is problem number 1. And problem number
Yes.
2, it is not saving you in the redundancy or anything. See, answer is very simple. Imagine that you are using a service in a component which is not created yet. Means it may happen that you are dynamically loading a component, right? Or you are dynamically loading a third-party module. And that app service is used. So let's say that I have in my application, everyone understand that there's a button called load chart. When I click on that button, load chart, it is loading a library called chart.module in my application. Otherwise, it is not loading because I have done the lazy loading and those things. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
And inside that lazy load, inside that chart.module, I'm using that app service or any service which you have created. Now, if we use providing option, step 1, the chart.module is not loaded at first compilation because you are following lazy load or those things. It means Angular does not have any information about chart.module. And since this service is used in chart.module, Angular does not know about chart.module. So Angular would identify that, hey, this service is not used anywhere else. And if you are using providing, Angular will not make that service as part of your application. It will tree shake that. So when that module would be loaded, it will go and try to find that service and it will get that no provider's error. Because that file is no longer part of your application. Am I making sense here, everyone?
Yeah.
Let us go a step back and understand it again. So in Angular, there is a concept of dynamic loading. Means you can load something on demand. Either it could be a component, it could be a module or something like that. Okay. Now let us say you have a component, you have created a component and you are not using it in the beginning. Like let's say that you have a button, when you click on that button, then only that component or that module would be loaded. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Now, so if you do lazy dynamic load, Angular will not compile that component or module until you don't reach to that point. Only such that it can reduce the initial bundle size. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Everyone, yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Now you have a service called, let us say, product service. And what you have done, you are using providing option for that product service. Is it clear? Now, that product service is not used anywhere else in the application, but only in that component or module, which is going to be lazy loaded later or dynamically loaded later. So when first time Angular starts compiling, it sees 2 information. First, that for product service, providing is set to product service is provided using providing, not using providers array. Means if this service is not used, I have to tree shake it. That's what Angular assumes. Now, Angular does not have any information about that dynamic lazy loaded module 8, because when you click on that, then that module will be loaded. So Angular would not able to identify in the beginning that this service would be used in the future. And that time, that service is not used anywhere. And Angular would remove that service from your output compiled output. So when you go and load that component, then that component will need the service, and the service does not exist in your application. So of course, that component will complain about that. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes, but
So-
that component is in the root scope itself, right?
It could be anywhere. Forget about that. Of course, inside your application, but could be in any module, anywhere.
Okay.
Understand, it's very simple. See, the first time Angular will only compile the things which you have declaratively, which you have declared in the declaration array. Agree? In the modules, there is a declaration array. Anything which is not in the declaration array, Angular is not going to compile them. Agree? Now, let's say that you are using a service in a component which is not part of declaration array, and you are loading that component on click of a button or something later, just to reduce your initial bundle size. You click on that button is loaded, boom. Now that button is looking for product service, and you have already 3 seconds the product service. So product service does not exist now. So you'll get an error, right? In that case, if you use providers, array, even if that service is not used, Angular is not going to remove it from your application. So whenever someone needs that service is available and its object get created. So answer of this long discussion is, whenever you have a service, you are using a service in a dynamically loaded component, make sure that service is in the providers array, because if it is in using providing and if it is not used anywhere else, Angular will tree check that, and when that component is dynamically loaded, that service will not be available. Okay, now you were saying something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but let's say if we are using components of some other module, then we need to mention that in the declaration array, right? That component.
So when we reach the concept of lazy loaded component, I don't know whether it's in the general agenda or not, but you don't have to. That's the whole concept of lazy loading a component.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see whether we have this in agenda or not.
Is there therefore?
That is lazy loaded module. That is not lazy loaded components.
Oh, okay. Service in lazy loaded module, yes.
Yeah, we have that in detail in the advanced training.
Okay.
Here it is just module lazy loading. See, lazy and dynamic are two different words. When I say lazy load a component and dynamic load a component are not the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, dynamic is not in the general one here.
Okay, am I making sense? Even if it is not making 100% sense to you, it's okay. But I want this information to be in your mind, that in future, if you encounter those kind of error, you can recollect and debug on that line. All right, so any question on this, whatever we have discussed?
Sir, I have this scenario. I don't know whether it will fit in this context or not, but
sure.
Yeah, let's say we have two services, service A and service B, right? And now service B is dependent on service A.
Service B is dependent on service A, okay?
Yeah. So, okay, so we are using service A using providers in.
You are using service A using provide in, okay?
Yeah, provide in. And so now as service B is dependent on A, so to use service B, can we also pass it in provider in, or we have to do it using providers array?
Let us write down your requirement. You can see my notepad?
Yes.
So you have a service 1, then you have service 2, and service 1 is set using providing equal to, let's say, root, okay? And then service 2 is provided using what? Providers array or providing?
So yeah, that is my question, that if 2 is dependent on 1, so how should we declare it, service 2? Is it possible using both the method, or we cannot do that?
It is possible. So your question is that for service 2 should we use providing or providers? That is your question?
Yeah.
Actually, that doesn't matter, right?
So like while creation of service 2, it requires an reference, or we have to pass service 1 as a DI in service 2.
Yes.
So if we
So-
declare both these
Yeah, if you declare both the, yeah, go ahead.
in provider in root, then will it have the reference of service 1 at the same time?
So you are saying that if you do providing equal to root, yeah, you can do that. What is the problem in that?
Okay. No, that is like I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, you can do that very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good question. Any other question?
So if we are using the provider's array, the injecting the service is same, right? We can use
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. That, so your this step has this step has nothing. I mean, they are dependent on provide, but they are like their syntax or those things doesn't change.
Okay.
Okay, so this line is clear to everyone. Angular service is tree shakeable, and the difference between providing and providers. Here I would write this line. You should use providers array if service is going to be used in DUI dynamic loaded components models. Okay. All right, everyone. Should we move to the next topic? Angular service is a singleton service.
Yes.
Good. So what's so far?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry. Here we have said Angular service is tree shakeable, but it is not in general, right? You have said that when we have provided it using the provided in attribute or provided in colon root, then and only then it is tree shakeable, right? If we provide it as a provider's array, then it is not tree shakeable. So in general, we cannot say Angular service is tree shakeable.
Just
Or am I
give me a moment. Give me a moment. Huh? Yeah. So your question is, and who asked that question?
Jainil.
Janil, answer of your, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Janil, answer of your question depends on how you perceive or how you define in general. Right? But if you ask me, in general, Angular service is tree shakeable. You know why, Janil? You know why, Janil? Because when you run this command, nggs my service, Angular generates a code for you. Yes or no? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
When you run this command, nggs my service, Angular generates some code for you.
Yes.
And in that code, by default, providing is set to root.
Yes.
So can I say that in general, actually it is tree shakeable? To make it not tree shakeable, I have to do something else.
Okay. Got it.
Right? So in general is an English word. So just to simplify, I wanted to show you that how you perceive the word in general. But yes, so let's say that by default, Angular services are tree shakeable service. By default, that's the correct word, right?
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Next question. Should we move forward?
Yes.
Okay, so now this Angular services tree shakeable is clear to you. Now, when you learn about Angular and you start learning about Angular services, the second thing which always comes that Angular service is a singleton service, singleton class, Angular service is a singleton class, Angular service is a singleton class. This is always there, right? So let us see that whether it is singleton or not. Let's first see that in the demo. And here I'm going to share my screen. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go here, app service provide. In child2 component, I'm going to use that back again. Here, and then in child1 also. So I'm just restoring to using the service again. And then I'll go to child1.component.html. I will uncomment this. All right. So here now, if I run our service, here our service is back, 32, get data, child2, F12, 55, everything is working fine. Now, if it is a singleton service, everyone, if it is a singleton service, means child component, child1 component, and child2 component are using the same object, right? We got to find out whether it is using same object or not. If it is using same object, means it is a singleton. If it is not using same object, means it is not singleton. So for that, here you can see my Visual Studio Code, and what I'm going to do in app.service.ts, you know that this constructor would be called as many times Angular will create object of app service. So if Angular is creating object of app service 10 times, this constructor would be called 10 times. If Angular is creating object of app service only once, this constructor would be called only once. If app service is creating object of, if Angular is creating object of app service 30 times, this constructor would be called 30 times. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that is the purpose of constructor. It would be called as many times object is being created. So let us go ahead and write some code. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here and say that, hey, private static, and let's say I have taken a count and the value of that count is 0. So I'm creating a static variable means, and if you don't understand what is a static variable is shared across objects. So even if there are 100 of object of app service, all those objects will share the same count variable. That's why it is static. Okay, everyone. So here I have declared a variable static count equal to 0, and inside this variable what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that, hey, app service, and how you can access that count using the service name, because this is a static variable, so you can access it using the service name. So I'll say app service dot count is equal to app service dot count plus 1. So whenever this constructor would be called, we are increasing that count value. And then we are saying console.log app service dot count. Let us print that. Okay. So here I have declared a variable count, which is static in nature. Then in the constructor, we are saying app service dot count plus 1. And then we are saying console.log app service dot count. So save it and then run the application again. And if I show you the screen, we are running the application again, pressing F12. And here you see that you have number of object 1 created. Can you see? Let me just number of console.log app Okay, so now if I show you here, you see that there is one app service object one. So even if that service is used at two places, it is used here and then it is used in child two. For that you are getting 55. There's only one object. There's only one object of service being created. So that definition, that Angular service is singleton, looks true to us. Agree, everyone?
Yes.
Right, so it is a singleton service, that is very evident. Or rather, let us say that this by default Angular services are singleton services, and that's why there is only one object, even if we are using it twice. However, let's go and change something. So here, let me go and share my screen again with you, and I'll go to child1.component.ts, and in child1.component.ts, what I'm going to do, like each modules has the providers array. In the same way, each component also has providers array. So here I'm saying here providers, okay, and here I'm passing it app service. So what I have done, in the providers of component, I'm again passing app service. Everyone saw that code in Visual Studio Code? Yes?
Yes.
Now let us see the output here. Now if you look at the output in Visual Studio Code, I'm cleaning it and then I'm running it again. Can you see there are two objects created?
Yes.
So Angular services are singleton service is not the universal truth. It depends. Yes, by default, it is singleton service, but just as you see on your screen, that depends. So the thumb rule is that if you have provided a service 100 times, means if it is in the 100 times in a provider's array, there would be 100 object of that service. Okay?
Yes.
So by default, when you say providing :root, that is one object, singleton object. But if we reprovide the same service, more objects would get created. So there is two objects now, app service object one, app service object two. There are two objects now. So this singleton thing and this how many objects should get created is clear, everyone? That if you are using a service 10 times, if you are providing service 10 times, there will be 10 objects created for that. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Other than two people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I have a question for you, and let's discuss that. So now there are two objects of app service. Everyone agree with that? There are two objects of app service, and this is very important. Let's go back to the code again. So there are two objects of app service. One object is being created due to this, and one object is being created due to this. The two objects. Now my question to you is, which object is being used by child1 component and which object is being used by child2 component? How it works. So to understand that, let's go back to our algorithm again. And this is very important concept. As I told you that today it's all about concept. If you understand these things, you will write a very high-end Angular application. Here you are onto the object level. Otherwise, yeah, API calling this, that would keep happening. And 100 of objects being created. Okay, so here you look at how it works. Okay, my friend. So what happens that here in child1 component, you are injecting it. You are using the service first. Okay, so it has to be injected here. So here you are injecting it. Now what happens? Please focus. So what Angular does, if you have injected a service in a component, Angular will step one, Angular will go and check providers array of that component. whether there is something in the provider's array of that component or not. Okay. Okay, it has found something in the provider's array of child1 component. It will go and create object which is being created due to these providers and use it. Am I making sense? Let's say that here you have injected a service and there's nothing in the provider's array here. Then what Angular will do, it will go to the parent component of child1 component. It will check whether there is any parent component of child1 or not. Does it exist or not? So it will go to the parent component of child1 component. And in this case, parent component is app.component.ts. Now it will check whether there is something in the provider's array of parent component or not. If there is something in the provider's array of parent component, it will use that object. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Now, in this scenario, it does not have its own providers. It moved to the parent. It does not have any providers in the parent. Then it will go and check in the module in which these components are declared, that whether there is something in the provider's array of that module or not. So here, these are in the app.module.ts. So it would go there and check in the app.module.ts. Now, here also it is not available. Then it will go to the parent module. Here you don't have the parent module. So it will go to the root object, root application, and check whether that is provided using providing : root or not. In this case, that is provided using providing : root. It will use that object and work. So it first checks in its current provider's array. A component will check first its in current provider's array. If it does not find it, it would go to the provider's array of parent component. If it does not find it, it go to the grandparent's provider component, grandparent's component provider array. If it does not find it, it would go to the modules in which those components are declared and look for the provider's array. If it does not find it, it would go to the parent module. If it does not find it, it would go to the main module. If it does not find it, then it would check that whether providing : root exists for that service or not. If it does not find that also, it will throw you error that no providers available. So in this scenario, child1 will use object which is created due to this provider's array because it got that object. However, child2 does not have provider's array. So it will go to the app.component.ts that does not have provider's array. It would go to the app.module.ts that does not have provider's array. It will use providing : root. Is it clear how it searches for the object?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here, let me just share the screen again. So everyone, this create, implement, provide, inject, use. Is it clear to you? The flow diagram in the notepad.
Yes.
Everyone, yes, no.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
you can say that by default Angular service is a singleton service, but if we have reprovided it, it means Angular is going to create new objects for that. So if Angular service is provided at 10 places, there would be 10 objects. So this line is clear to you? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not universal truth. Second is that Angular service is tree shakable. Again, by default, that is tree shakable. But if I'm using providers and not using providing option, it is not tree shakable. That is clear to you?
Yes.
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 And what is the meaning of tree shakable? You understand. If a service is created but not used in the application, Angular will not make it as a part of the application. That is tree shaking. All right. So here I'm going to give you another 5 minutes break to just note it down, just go through your notes and ask me questions if you have any. I'm sitting here, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not on the mute. I'm unmuted. If you have any question, ask in next 5 minutes before we go to the next topic. This is very important. If you want, I can open the code for you. Let me open the code for you if that helps.
I have one question. Can we provide multiple modules in provided in option?
What does it mean? Let me go there. In providing option here.
Yeah.
No, that takes only one string.
Okay.
See, you don't have to do that. Okay. Because if you want to share and if you want to create separate object for separate module, there's a way to do that. I'll show you either today or tomorrow that would get covered. Okay, my friend?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have one question.
Yeah.
Like you said that it would work for dynamically loaded component, the provider's array. So like what is the conceptual difference between dynamic versus lazy?
What is the conceptual difference between dynamic versus lazy? Very good question.
Yeah.
So dynamic is something which is part of your initial bundle from very beginning. Okay. Only, so let's say that I want to use this child one component inside app component, right? So what you are doing, you are using it here. Is it clear?
Yes.
You are using it. That's the normal way. And that component is part of the same model. So right now you cannot make it lazy loaded, because if you have to make it lazy loaded, you need to split it from the main module. That is step one. So this is here. Okay. Now let's say that I don't know whether I need app child one or not when I'm rendering app component. So I commented it. Let's say that I commented it. And here in app.component.ts, let's say that I have a function called get child one on some business requirement. And here I'm writing code to load that component on click of a button and all. So that component is still part of the module, is still compiled, but it is still contributing to the overall bundle size, but it is not loaded. It is not there declaratively declared. So this is called dynamic behavior. But if I take that component and put it in some other module, okay, and I will not load that, I'll not compile that module itself. I'll compile, but I'll not make that module as part of the initial module. I will say that, hey, whenever you come here, first load that module and then load that component. So here the component is, so when these two conditions are together, we call it lazy loaded component. If you have only one that scenario where the component is still there, but it is part of the main module, part of the same bundle itself, but it's still not created from the HTML, but created using the code that is called dynamic. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so like lazy component can only be created for a lazy module. Is that correct?
Lazy, I can have lazy loaded component only from the lazy loaded module. That's your question?
Yeah.
Yes, but Angular is working in the direction where right now that is not possible. I guess in the next version that would be there, that if you want, you can make a component only lazy in the same module itself.
Okay.
But as of now, what you are saying is correct.
Okay.
And I guess that is possible right now. Means, to answer your question, you have a component lazy loaded without being in different module. How to do that? I just recall. I will. Let me. If you are so curious, let me show you. I'm not going to show you code, but let me show you the syntax. Okay. So if you go here, what you are able to see?
VS Code.
Oh, okay. So here we see that how to lazy load a component in Angular.
Yeah.
And you see, I'm the author, so I'm showing you my own blog. Okay. Dhananjay Kumar. So if you read it here, you can lazy load a component also. So if you want, you can, I'll share this, you can go ahead, but I'll cover this in detail in the advanced training.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so you are right. I just missed that. Now starting Angular 11 means starting Ivy, you can lazy load just a component as well without having a module.
Okay.
There's so many things, even I forget what I have written. Even it is from the Angular 9 itself. So this is the syntax you have to follow and all that. Everyone does not get distracted by it. You have to use container factory resolver, view container def and all. Okay. So are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So any more questions, gentlemen and girls? Should we move to next topic if there's no more question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can you just reiterate the path, the providers that you said the hierarchy, when to find the service?
Okay. Good. So so let us take the example. You are able to see my Visual Studio Code, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first take the child2 component. So child2 component is using app service. Here in line number 11.
Yeah.
So what Angular will do, Angular will first try to search this app service that whether it is provided in child2 component providers array or not. So it is not provided into child2 component providers array, right? So it will go and search in the parent of child2. And in this case, parent of child2 is app component. Because you are using child2 in the app component, right? So it will search that in parent, which is app component. Again, it does not find it. So it will go to the module where these components are declared. So app component and child2 component is declared inside app.module.ts. See, app component and child 2, they are declared in app module. So it will go and try to search that in the providers array of that module. It does not find it.
Okay.
Then it will go and search that whether that service which it is using has created using providing option root. It finds it and it will work. And it will use the object which is created by this option. If it does not find it here, it will give you no providers error. So this hierarchy is clear to you?
There is a child 2 component. And
child 1, you mean child 1 component?
Yeah, there is child 1 component. In that providers array is declared app service.
Yeah. So what happens that here you are app service. You are using apps, injected app service and using it. And we will go and try to search whether app service exists in the current providers. Here it finds it. It will not go further. It will use the object which is created from these providers and so on.
Okay. And here are the two objects are created like 1 and 2. So the child 1 uses the first created or later created or whatever. So
that we don't know which one is which object. Only you need to know that the object which is created due to this child 1 and all the child of child 1 will use that object.
But the concern is the child 1 and child 2 both use different object of app service.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can we verify that by console logging that object count on or something like that?
How would you do that?
From the services get data method, we can console this count, the static count.
And so, okay, I'll do that. But what problem that would solve for you?
I just need to verify that child 1 and child 2 use the different component. Sorry, the different objects.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that they are using the different objects. You go and do this verification at your end. And if you're not able to, if you find some other output, you just come back to me.
Actually, I will do that. And so
let's do that.
But I don't.
Yeah, tell me what you want to do. See, we need to we need to respect time also, right?
Yeah. But I think it could just
or we can
2 or 3 minutes if you console log here.
Yeah.
Just the before the return statement, otherwise it won't execute.
What should I count?
Okay,
that variable?
Yeah.
Now what this code is doing?
Whenever they get data,
always you'll get 2 here, right?
Okay. Yes.
Come on.
It's static, right?
It's static.
If we want to verify, we can do something like we can console.
My question to all of you is that why you want to verify, what business problem that would solve? You only need to know that it is going to use another object. It means if you have something attached to, it means it may happen that that object, like when let's say that, take an example. Let us take an example where we assign something to an object. Yeah. Okay. Let's take an example that there is some property which is assigning. You don't have something related to static. Let's say you have something just counter equal to 0. Okay. It means that counter equal to 0 is not associated with the class. It is associated with the object which would get created. Everyone agree with that? Yes. And as of now, let's do that. Let's say that we have only one object. As of now. Now, if this counter value here, this counter value is saying counter equal this dot counter equal to this dot counter plus 1. Okay, and then you will say console.log this dot counter. Now, if same object is used across components, then wherever you from wherever component you click, you call this function, this count value should increase. Agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Or if it is using different object, then it should not increase. So in that way, you can verify that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So let's now first go and add some buttons there. So we already have a button in child 1. Okay, so let's go to child 1, and then we would say, we'll just say this dot app service dot get data. So it will increase that thing, and it is saying that data number, and then let me get rid of this. Let's say that we are not passing anything. Okay. Now, and then let's achieve the same on and then we are printing it here. Okay. Whoever asked this question, who has done it before and it is not working for you, you are getting what I'm trying to do here?
Yeah, of course.
Right? And are you sure you did it before and it did not work for you? I ask again, have you done it before and it did not work for you?
Yeah, I have done it now, but I think I got mistakenly taken the static count, so it will not work. But this can be. I just got mistaken by that.
And you remember the very first day, second in component communication, we talked that to share data between two unrelated component, you will use service, right? So it means if they don't have access to the same object, they cannot share data, right, my friend? So let's see how it works. So here you see my output. Can you see the browser now? So this one is coming. This one is coming from app.service.ts. Why child2.component.ts? Okay. Because we are not returning anything from there. Okay. So let's modify our code a little bit so that we can verify it. So let a app service, let's go here in app service, and instead of this, we'll say return this dot counter. Okay. Okay, so here you see that I clean this and I run this again. You are getting 1 from the service for child2 component. It is clear? Yes. Now when I click on get data, which is in the child 1. Oh, I have called that in ngOnInt. So for that, I'm going here and in the child2.component, let's say that here also say button get data child2 click get data. Okay, so we'll take this get data for the child2 And I'll move this whole code here. And same I'm going to do for child 1, get data. I'll move the whole code here. Okay, and also just to keep it simple, I am modifying this is the U data, updated data from the service. Let's see that whether it's a U data or not. So let's say that it is U data. Okay. So child 1 component, updated data from the service, it is, we have to first call it, then get data child 2. So get data we called, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you getting that?
Yeah.
Means they have access to the same object. Let's see that why it is not printing it here.
And when we provide the array.
Yeah, we are getting there. Yeah, we are getting there. Just let me just first print that value. Oh, not let data. It should be this dot u data. And this will be this dot u data. Let me do one thing for you. Control C. You are able to see my Visual Studio Code?
Browser.
Oh, just a minute. Save. Okay, now I'm back to the browser. Let's close this. So we have get data 1, okay, get data 2, get child data 3, 4, 5. So now when I click on get data, it should start from 6, I guess, right? For the first, because they're both working with the same object. Am I making sense? So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now if I click on get child 2, it should start with the 12. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Then it should start with the 19. So this is okay. Now my understanding is if I go to child1 component.ts and here I'll say that, hey, reprovide it. File save. Okay. So what I have done in Visual Studio Code, I reprovided that app service. That's what you want me to do? Yes?
Yes, so there will be 2 objects.
No, the gentleman who asked question, this is what you want me to do?
No, my voice is audible.
Okay, now let's go back to the browser and see how it works. Refresh. It could be I'm wrong also. Get data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
I think my voice is not audible.
Yeah, your voice is audible. Please ask.
Okay, clear. And if we provide it in app.module, that okay, no problem.
No, ask. What is the question? If you provide it in app.module.
So by the hierarchy, it will take from the app.module. Then will be 2 objects will be created. Okay,
so what you want me to do? Tell me. Let me open the Visual Studio Code for you. Yeah.
Yeah, from the hierarchy, if it is not provided in the component attribute, then it will go to the parent in the
so I deleted it. I deleted it from here. And you want me to provide it?
Yeah. So it is fine from that. And so the same case will be generated.
That's what I taught you.
Yeah. Okay, come.
So it will always try to find first in its own component, then parent component, then parent component, then parent component, then the module in which those components are declared, then the parent module, and then the root provided equal to root. Okay. Is it clear? You are satisfied?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Any other question on this? And also in this demo, you saw that how we are sharing data between two components, but I'll cover that in detail when I'll go to the behavior subject and all that. I request each one of you to ask questions if you have any. No more questions on this?
No, I think we are good.
Good. Everyone else?
Yes.
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 Okay, so let us move to the next topic. Okay, so let me go ahead and create more services in our application. Okay, so you can see my Visual Studio Code. Here I'm creating more service NGS log. So when I run this command, by default, this service would be a tree-shakable service and singleton service. Everyone agree with that by default?
Yeah.
By default, when I run this should be a tree-shakable service and singleton service. So I run that command. Then I'm creating one more service, NGS, let's say that updated log. Or let it be log service. Then go back to our application. And just to focus on that topic, what I want to do, I want to go do right now is it is providing this root. So I will delete this from here. And also in the child one component, I have this. And then child two that component I don't have that anyway. Fine. Okay. So we have a new service called log service, which is being created in log.service.ts. Okay. Now let's say that in this service we have a function called in this service we have a function called, let's say that get log. Okay, everyone, and that is getting log from SQL Server. Let's say that when we started that application building this, the log was getting saved in SQL Server, and we are getting that log from SQL Server using API 1. And let's say that here in this file 1,000 lines of codes are written. Okay, my friend, and here as of now, whatever I pass here, if I pass, let's say name string, it will return me that's it. So it will return. Hello, am I audible, everyone?
Yes.
Hello. And you are able to
Yes.
see my Visual Studio Code, right? Hello.
Yes.
Logs, and let's say that it is saying name. Pretty simple. You already know that, and we have what we are going to do. Let's say that we either we can rely on providing equal to root or providers. Whatever concept I'm going to talk is same. Doesn't matter how you are providing that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete it from here, and then hello. Yeah, so that service name is log service. Can you see my screen, Visual Studio Code?
Yeah,
Yes.
now we can see.
Yeah, so that service name is log service. Now we want to use that service. So here what we are going to do, in the get data, the earlier one, let's comment that. And here we'll say this dot u data is equal to, we need to integrate, we need to do that also. I'm getting rid of this private app service as of now. So we'll say private log service, and then here we are saying log service. Pretty clear, everyone? So here we'll say this dot log service dot get log, and here I can pass name. So this is child one, so I'll pass child one. Okay, and let's make it as a string. So pretty clear, this dot data log service get child one. Same go, let us go and mimic the same behavior in child two dot component. So in child two dot component, again, I'll get rid of this private log service and then log service, and then make this as a string. And here I'll say this dot log service, and I'll call it get log. And let's say that here I'm passing child 2. Okay, so this is pretty simple code in front of us, and let's go and run this. So if I go and run this here, if I'm running it, so get data. Oh, I need to run it again, ng serve. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, in the code, I just created a new service, and we'll see that, you'll see that what we are going to achieve by that. Okay, it's a simple log service, and as you saw that log service is, we are saying there could be thousand lines of code written here, and right now it is, let us say that getting log from the SQL Server using API 1, and let's say this is created in January 2021. All right. Okay, now we are here, and in the browser, we see get data. We are getting hello logs child 1, get data hello logs child 2. Pretty simple. Everything is fine. So far, everyone with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Right. Now, let us say we are in, and assume that you are using this log service in 100 of places in your application. Okay, my friend. Now let's say that our manager is back or customer is back, and he's saying, so that service we created in January 2021, and now it is January 2022. Or now our manager is back and he's saying that, hey, now we need to get log from Oracle by using API 2. That's the requirement. That in the backend, API has changed, database has changed, everything has changed. They have a new logging mechanism in the action, but API is same, means the get log and those fields are same, only they have changed the database and the way API is written. Earlier it was Java API, now it is .NET API and all those. So we had to update our Angular application. Making sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
So what should we do as an Angular engineer? One thing is that, and that I know you would never do that. One thing is that you would go to log.service.ts and start modifying this file, mean changing the API URL and all those things. You may start doing that, but you should not do that, right? You are in a smart engineer that is already in the place that is being used. You should not, that the file which is already tested and used for 1 year, you should not go and modify that. So you and your architect and your manager decided that, hey, let's create a new service called updated log service. Okay, my friend. So for what we are going to do, we are back to our command prompt, Control C, and we are saying that nggs updated log. That was log, this is updated log. Okay, everyone.
Yes.
And we created a new service. And then let's say ngserve. Now we are back to our application here. So now we have one updated log, service.ts. All right. And I'm going to make it the same, which is log service, means we'll rely on providers. And here you have, we started writing. So see, I'm not at all touching the log service. You see that? Log service is in place, being used wherever it has to be used. Everyone understand what I'm doing here?
Yes.
I started writing code,
Yes.
updated code in updated log service. Of course, the structure will be exactly the same. What I mean by the structure means these things like the function definitions. So I taken that here, get log, getting log from, I start writing this Oracle using API 2. This is created in January 2022. Return hello updated logs. So we created a new service which has now updated API, which is working with updated API. Right now we don't have unit test here, but we can run unit test and we can be sure that whatever code we have written here is perfectly fine. So far with me, everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Now,
Yes.
if I go and run my application, it is still using hello log child 2, hello log child 1, the SQL Server log, the previous log. But now we need to use that updated log service. With me, my friend? So what we do? We are back to our Visual Studio Code. Some of you may advise me that, hey, go to child1.component and modify this. Agree? How many of you think we should do that? You would say that, hey, go and modify line number 15, update that to updated log service, and your job is done. How many of you think we should do that? Be honest.
I think that.
I think.
Right?
I-
And
I
all of
think,
us
yeah,
think, all
as
of
now,
us,
this is the only way we are.
all of us think like that, right? And anyone who is starting with Angular will think like that. But assume if this log service is used in 1,000 places, there are 1,000 components which is using that log service. You'll go change. Then again, let's say there is a guideline in your project and in your company that, hey, whenever you change something in a class, you got to write unit test again. You got to run unit test again. So you'll update 1,000 places, step 1. Then you'll run 1,000 places unit test. It is going to be a lot of work. Agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So Angular service provides us a better way to do that. So what I'll do, I'll go to app.module.ts, and here you see that, and again, what concept I'm talking is true for providing option and providers both. I have just taken providers here. Okay. So here, so providers and providing is exactly the same, only the tree shaking different. Okay, everyone? So here I'm saying providers, log service. So this provider log service, when you pass like this, everyone focus here, okay? When you pass like this providers log service, actually internally that is broken into, so I'll comment this for you. Internally that is actually broken into like this, providers, and that is an object. Okay, my friend? And that object name is, that object has two properties. One is provide. Okay. And one is, that has various options. I'll cover that. One is use class. So when for you, the value of provide and use class is same. So here you see that value of provide and use class is same. Both are log service. Instead of breaking that like this, you can write how you have written in line number 23. So when you write like this, what you have written in line number 23, internally that is actually provide is log service and use class is log service. So if both are same, you can use the shortcut. But internally that is that. Now let us go back to our notepad again. So in the notepad, I told you that this is a step: create, implement, provide, inject, and use. This is the step for us as a developer to create the service, right? But Angular reads our service in the reverse way. What it does, it first sees that whether we are using that service or not. Then it identifies how we are injecting that service, whether we have injected a service or not. And then it goes to the how we are providing it. And then it goes to that what is implemented there and so on, right? So Angular goes in the reverse direction. We build in the reverse direction. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
So here, let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and we are using their service here. So Angular will start reading from here. Okay, you are using a service. Have you injected it? Angular will go to the second step. We are injecting it here. Angular would say, okay, perfect. You have injected it. Now, whatever you pass it here, you remember in the beginning today, I asked you that, hey, is this the class name which we are creating in the service? And all of you said yes. However, whatever you pass it here, log service or whatever you pass it here is not the what you see here. I repeat, whatever you pass here, this log service is not what is the name of your class here. They are not the same thing. What you pass here, this log service is actually what is here in the provide. Am I making sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So this child one, now you have injected it. So you injected it. What Angular says that, okay, you are injection done. Perfect. Step 2 pass. Then it will search for the providers. It has not found it. We have already talked about the hierarchy. It will go and find that in app module. So, okay, the provider token is here, log service. And here, you know that circle. This guy is that circle in our diagram. This guy is that circle in our diagram. You know this circle, the provider circle, you can say DI container. Okay, so here what Angular does, that it sees, okay, for log service token, use the class log service. And this log service is actually this log service. So when this application is running, for log service token, which is being injected here, Angular is using object of log service class. And in the output here, you are getting this and that. Now, if I go here and use this, if I just go here and update this with updated log service, file and save, I'm back here in my application. Here, you see my browser. I refresh it. Is it working fine without touching any existing code?
Yes.
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 Yes? Everyone, you understand what we have just discussed?
Yes. Yes.
Now, you know, if you don't know that, some of you might be knowing that in advance, but if you don't know that, we start updating those component 1 class, child component 1, child component 2, and so on. We don't have to do that. I have seen many of my customers for whom I do consulting, they do these mistakes. But I hope all of you 25 people, if you knew it in advance, that is super fine. If you did not know it, you are not going to do that difference. You are going to use class if required in your project, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So now here, that is what use class is. So as I told you that there are various options here. Various options are, one is use class, then you have use class, use existing, use factory, and use value. Now you know the purpose of use class. All right. It is clear to you, purpose of use class. So let's me go here and say use class log service. Okay. Now there is something called use existing. Use class is pretty simple. Now let's say that here I go, and now we are understanding purpose of use existing. Purpose of use class, business use case of use class is clear to you, everyone, right?
Yes.
Say our manager is back. Our manager is saying that, hey, hold on. What I want you to do that, so if you do this use class log updated log service, okay, if you follow this, all right, then everything is fine now, and you got the updated output. That is good. Let's say that our manager is back and he's saying that, hey, we need one more component. So we are here and we are saying that, okay, I need one more component. So ngGC child 3, we created that component. You're able to see my screen, command prompt?
Yes.
Yeah. So I created this new object, new screen. So sorry, new component, I'm sorry. And here that child 3 is there. Now our manager wants exactly same types of behavior. What is there in child 1, child 2? So child 1, child 2 was created before January 2021. Child 3 is created after January 2021. I'm an engineer. My manager is telling me it has exactly the same behavior. Do that. I'm here. Okay, sir, I can do that. I've taken this. I'll go here. I'll say, okay, let me copy paste this. I copied pasted it here. Then I injected it. And then I taken this and this. Looks good. Child 3 is also there. Get data for child 3. Right, I can do that, everyone. So here I am. I can go and look at the browser if I have not done any mistake. Oh, I need to use that child 3 also. So let me go and use in app.company.html. Now here, app child 3 I'm using. So now if I look at my this, I have get child 3, updated child. Oh, I have to pass different value for that because I just copied pasted. So that is okay. You understand what I'm doing. So here I'll do child 3. So far it looks good and everything is fine. And on your screen, you can see the output browser, right? Get data, get child 2 data, get child 3 data. It looks good. It is updated log and everything is fine. So far, so good, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
our code is in the review. Our manager, our customers, senior engineers, architect are now reviewing the code. So they are saying that, hey, I have already reviewed child 1 and child 2 earlier because it is 1 year old code. That is perfectly fine. And you have written child 3 lately. So let me start reviewing child 3. So, okay, output is there, fine. Now our manager is angry. What is this log service? After January 2021, log service is legacy. I want you to here use updated log service. Our manager can say that, right?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's the updated log service. Earlier log service was used because those were in the older components. So use this updated log service here. So we change that, file, save. Okay, this is what we need to do. We done that. We are back to our output and we are running it. We are saying function F12. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, so here we are, F12, and we are getting the error that, hey, updated log service No provided for updated log service. Of course, because we have not provided updated log service. So one is, of course, you can say that, hey, I can go to updated log service and make this here. I put providing equal to root and all. And what is the implication of that? We have already talked about that, right? One option is that. Another option is that you would say that, hey, let me go to app.module.ts. So I'll go to app.module.ts. And here I can add one more, right? So I'll say provide updated log service, use class, updated log service. Will this solve my problem? You are able to see my Visual Studio Code?
Yes.
Yes.
So this should solve my problem. Let me go to my output again. Yeah, that has solved our problem. That is also fine. Okay, our problem is solved. All right, let's go back to Visual Studio Code again. Our problem is solved. We are back in Visual Studio Code again. All right. Now, you see that this updated log service is used twice. And this updated log service, object of updated log service is available for log service token and for updated log service token both. Agree, everyone? So if I use log service anywhere, if I inject log service, I'll get object of updated log service. If I use updated log service token, I'll get object of updated log service. That is clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, everyone?
Yes.
However, in this scenario, what would happen? For this token log service, Angular will create one object. And for this token updated log service, Angular will create another object. Because we are providing this updated log service twice. It means child 3 is working with another object and child 1 and child 2 is working with another object. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone, am I making sense here?
Yes.
Yes.
So you can have that, but no, we want same object because Angular services should be singleton, should be able to share data and all that. I want to use same object, even if for different token. In that case, only I'll go here and say use existing log service. Now, child 3 here in child 3, updated log service token is used. Angular starts reading that. It will find that in app.module.ts. So here updated log service, and we are saying, hey, for updated log service token, use existing log service token. So it will go to the log service token, which is in the line number 27, and then use object, which is created for updated log service. So now you have log service token and updated log service token, both in your application, and both are using object of updated log service class, and both are using same object of updated log service class. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So here, so that is the purpose of use existing, to create a new token which is going to use object of existing token. If you change it to use class, it means you have re-provided it. And what is the implication of re-providing? You already know it. We have already talked about that. Okay, so here I'm going to give you 2 to 3 minutes to just observe whatever we have talked, and then I'm open for questions.
Here, use existing should have log service, right?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm open for questions. These are very important concepts, my friend.
So here provided column, and we have written the log service and updated log service. So is it necessary to write any service class name or string name is also
For the token? For the token?
yeah, provide colon the value.
Yeah, so
What
that
type
is
of-
token. This is token. So you are asking me, is it must to pass token name only the class name? That is your question, right?
Right.
No, for huge factory, for huge value. So if for huge factory, sorry, for huge class, for huge existing, and for huge factory, you have to pass a class name as a token name. But for huge value, you can pass something else, which I'll show
Like
you how.
string and something.
Sorry?
Like string and something.
You cannot pass a string. You have to create a token for that. In that token, you can pass a string as a parameter. I'll show you when we'll do use value. Before Angular 8, even string was allowed, but then they removed it, that option. So far, is it all of you are able to understand everything? Are you into the story? These are very important concepts. These are the concepts which makes you Angular developer who are very productive. I'm expecting at least 5 questions.
So I have one question. So
Yeah.
can we use existing feature in providing root option?
Yes, very much. You can go to here. Let's say log service.ts. Okay.
Okay.
As I as I told you earlier, the concepts which we are talking are exactly same. Only difference between providing and providers array is providing is tree stackable, provider is not tree stackable. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So provider array is only for services or another perspective also? Provider array.
I did not understand. Come again. Providers arrays.
This providers array we have write all the services which have to be injected. So is there any other component which can be part of these providers?
No. Providers means service only.
Okay.
Components, pipes are always declaration, modules in imports, and providers only deals with services. Okay. Next question. Am I audible or Yeah. Should I move to next topic?
Yeah, we can move.
Yeah.
Okay. So let us say that in my application, let me go to app component, and let's say that here I have a button, and that button is saying something. Let's say that hello. Okay. And on click of that button, I'm saying, so I have a button here, hello, and on click of that, I'm doing that. So now let me go to, let me close these things. So here in app.component, I added a button called hello. You're able to see Visual Studio Code, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I have that function hello. Okay. Now let's say that I have here something called data, and that data is set to undefined. I have a data and data is set to undefined, and this here I'm saying this dot data equal to this dot data dot something sort. Nowadays they even don't allow you to do the error thing. What if I okay, so here I'm saying data is any, and then on that I'm saying this dot data dot sort. Let's see what is happening here. Let me go to browser here, share. Oh, something has imported, wait. Okay, so you are able to see my browser, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in browser, I have this get data. I did this hello, right? So I'll click on this hello. And when I click on the hello, I'm getting an error, right? Cannot read property sort of undefined. So this is the way you get error in your Angular application. You have and these are the runtime error, means something happened at the runtime. Angular is complaining about that. Now, and these are the default Angular error mechanism. So for example, you cannot perform sort on undefined and all those things. And here Angular is giving you that information, and that is there. So this is the error, this type of error you always get in Angular. Now let us assume that we have a requirement in our project that, hey, whenever there is a runtime error, as such as this, you log that error to the server first. Second, don't show any error message to user like this, because in the production, user may get nervous seeing these so many red things. Instead of that, just show them some message, log this to the server, and all those kind of things, right? So in that case, we can modify the default error handler of Angular and create our own global error handling for application. Am I making sense? Such that we can have control that how we want to handle error of our application. Everyone clear with that?
Yes.
Right. So what I'm going to do for that, I'll go to here, open command prompt. And here, let's go and create one service, nggs, and let's say that we are calling that as a global error. So this is going to handle error of our application, the global error handler. And we'll put whatever business logic we have inside that. And for that, we are going to use create service. And why we are creating service? Because that global error handler is a reusable thing, which we would use everywhere. So here I'm saying nggs global error. I pressed enter. Perfect. Now come back here and let's go to Visual Studio Code. And here you see that we have a global error service.ts created, providing equal to root and all those things. So far, so good. Now we know that we are going to use it anyway. So this would be used anyway. So we'll take it and put it in app.module.ts. So right here, let's say that here we would, we'll use it whenever we have to. Okay, so we have this global error service.ts. Now, next, what I'm going to do, you are able to see my Visual Studio Code?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a moment. So what I'm going to do here, okay. So here in the code, I will go and say implements error handler. Now this error handler If you go to definition of this is the class which handles by default error of your Angular application. So that error handler class handles error of your Angular application. Okay. So here I'm implementing that. I'm saying that error handler, and then I can go and say that, hey, now we need to implement that. So error handler, and this error handler is from Angular code. Once we have that, this error handler has a function called handle error. So here, go to definition. It has a function global error handler. Okay, sorry. So here I'd go and say, go to definition. It has something called handle error. So take that handle error from there. Take this from here and go back to service again. And we need to implement that. All right, so here we are saying that error handler, we created a service, our service, then implements error handler. We implemented that. Now here we can write our own business logic to handle error in application. Now, there could be two types of error in your application. One error which happens due to some operation inside the application. For example, which we did now. We try to do a sort operation on undefined. That is one type of error. The another type of error is that when your application is talking to the outside world, means making an API call and those kind of thing. So those errors are called HTTP error. Those errors are handled in different way, and we would cover that later. Here, in this way, you can handle errors which is generated inside the application. Making sense? So here we are saying export class global error handler implements error handler, and here you can write your own business logic. So send crash report to server, log to server, whatever you want, you can write it here, right? Log the stack trace and all those things, you can do it here. Okay, so here you can say handle error any, and here you can say, let's say that right now I'm just console logging that this is my error. So here by saying that file save, okay, file save, this is my error. All right, and now what we would do, so here we have created a global error service class, and now we will go to app.module.ts, and here we would say provide, and you'll provide error handler, okay, but for that token you want to use the global error handler class, global error service which you just created. So you see that what are the real use cases of this huge class and all. One for the updated service here. Now, whenever Angular will see error handler, so this error handler token already get injected whenever there is an error, like you saw when we try to do dot sort on undefined and all those kind of thing. We are requesting Angular that, hey, for error handler, please use global error service which I just created. And this is a global error service, and yeah, okay, error handler. Now let's go and see that how it works. So here in the browser, I'll share browser with you. Run this. Now we had this error. You see, this is my error. You are getting that red thing is not getting. You are getting rid of that from the user, and of course you can write code whatever you want to write it there. If you really have to show that red message to while in the development, and you want to log also, and you want to show that the red message also, so what you can do, you can go to Visual Studio Code, and here you can say throw error. So if you throw that, then that error that would be thrown as well. But in production, you should not do that. Otherwise, what is the purpose of doing this? So here I'll share Visual Studio Code again and refresh it. And I'm back to hello. And here that error is thrown to you again. Okay. So this is the way you handle global. This is completely whatever is the comment here is completely your business logic. So as you learn more Angular, like how to integrate with API, how to deal with stack trace and all, you will use all those knowledge together and put it here to handle error. But this is the structure you need to follow, and this is a structure you need to. Sorry. So as you learn more concepts of Angular, like how to integrate with API, how to work with stack trace and all, you will combine, consolidate all those learning, and here in the comment line you are able to see my Visual Studio code. You'll write those code and you'll handle error in your application. Keep in mind, but the structure will be exactly the same, only this one class. And of course you can go and here you have to provide the new class for the token. Now also you understand that if you want to have different error handling mechanism for different module, you can very much do that. For main module, you can have provide error handler use class global error service. For let us say module 1, you can have provide error handler use class global module 1 error service. And you know how in hierarchy it search, it only searches first its component, then the further component, then the further parent component, then the module, then the parent module. So if you want to handle error for child 2 component differently, you can very much create a service. Only you have to pass that you can pass that in for configuration in that child 2 providers array. Then that would be applied to this component and all the child component of child 2. So this is how you handle error. You could handle error in your application, and this is one huge case of huge class providers in Angular. So everyone understood it?
Yes.
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 So I'm open for questions.
So let's say if there are actually some errors in the error handler, then what will happen?
What does it mean? Error in the error handler means the service you are saying?
Yeah.
What do you think would happen? How about you try it today?
Okay.
Of course, this whatever is here would handle that, because you have just overridden the error handler, right?
Yeah, but again the same error can happen, right? So it might go in the loop.
No. How it would go on the loop? Come on. See, error handler deals with the runtime error of the DOM things. This is a service. And here, if you try to do the undefined thing, oh, I understand what you are saying. You are saying that if I do some operation on undefined or some array sort operation right here, then what would happen? That is your question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that would also get handled with this handle error here. But I did not understand when you said it would go in loop. What loop it would go in?
So let's say next time when it comes to handle the error, at that time also the same exception can occur, right?
Let us try that, right? Let us try that. Maybe I also have not tried that before. Let us do that. So you are saying that here I'm just saying console.log, and let's say that I have something called let a, okay, and here I'm saying a.sort. Is it okay? Why it is giving us compile time, or is it possibly undefined? Okay, so let a as any.
We can define with any.
Yeah, the same thing we are doing there also, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go back to our application and new share, and here is my browser. Okay, so I refresh this. So I'm doing get data, it is working fine because there is no error in the class application. Get child data, nothing's happening. I'm in the hello. Oh, and if I go to the console and run it again, it is not showing something, right? Interesting.
There is mentioned one error.
Where it is mentioned?
Right side menu. Left side. Both.
Yeah, but it is mentioned in the zone, but it is not showing our error which we wanted to show, right? Okay, this is good learning then. So here we need to, maybe for the global error service, we need to write our own try catch. And then you write your business logic inside the try catch. Okay?
Okay.
Good observation. But still it is not loop, like our application did not get disturbed. But yeah, but this particular global error service stopped working. Yeah, we need to put in the try catch. Good question. Yeah, next question.
So it looked like the error that was thrown from the global service, it was handled by the actual event handler, right? Error handler, right? The base class.
You know, if it was handled through that, interestingly, I understand what is happening here. Actually, the error is in the service class, and this service class, I was expecting that red thing on the console itself, you know, if it is being handled by the error handler. It did not give us anything there. Let us see again what it gave. Wait, let me get rid of this try catch. Wait. Anyway, always put this handle error in try catch. But for component, it will definitely component and other stuff, everywhere else other than this global error service, it will work. So what if I, if I do this throw error, okay, fly save, and I'm back to my browser here, and get data is working, get child data 2 working, get child data 3 is working. I clicked on hello. I clicked on hello again, F12. Yeah. Oh, I did not throw that time. Okay. So so you got to throw it, then it will show this to you for that particular thing. But always make sure that you put it in the try catch and then throw it. Okay, so but you understand that how you can handle how can you write application level error handling for your application by implementing error handler and then injecting the token in the module for the application. If you have to do that for a component and its child component, you have to move this to that particular component. If you have to do it for a specific module, you need to move it for that module. Okay, so today we have covered a lot, and I hope that you understand. We covered the services, we covered what is dependency injection, what is inversion of control, we created a service, what is tree shaking, singleton, providing, providers, then use class, use existing, global error handling, how to share data between two components, which is not related, and a lot of things. So I request you to ask questions if you have any. If you don't have right now, it is fine. Rewatch the video and you will have questions. tomorrow. These things are very important. These are smaller things. We don't, if we know it, it is our productivity in our Angular application would be very good. We try to understand these problems with business use cases. For example, when we did log service and updated log service, that you saw that, okay, this is the thing, how we updated the whole log service without touching existing log service or component 2, child component 1 and child component 2. Now you know that if you use existing, it would create, it would use object of the same of an existing token. If you use class with a new token, it will create a new object. And all this knowledge you have to keep in mind. You have to keep it like, in your toolbox when you are writing an application, and you have to apply that. It's not that, okay, today you have learned it and then you are not using it. Then you are just relying on the default thing, which is being generated by Angular CLI. Then eventually that may cause problem. Now you know where to use what. And this is the purpose of this training, not only to go in the quiz mode, that can we do that, can we not do that, can we do that, can we not do that. That the purpose is that you can find out. The purpose is that you should know the concept, and then you should be able to map that concept to the business use case. And the concepts which are not easily available on internet or YouTube videos. That's the whole purpose of this this training. And I hope you might have felt that today. Any question?
No.
How about everyone? Other people are very silent.
Yes, we are good.
Can I ask a question to everyone? How did you understand all the concepts almost today? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. And please rewatch video. If you have question, we would answer that tomorrow. And if you don't have any further question, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. And it was a very nice class today. I saw a lot of interaction. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. You'll get this recording. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.